Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2022 Mazda 3. And this is basically the same as the 2021 Mazda 3 that I did last year, except for this is the sedan. Last year I did the hatchback. So almost everything is the same. Even the exterior color is the same. So just want to show you a few things about it. If you've already seen my previous video, if you haven't, I'll have a link in the description so you can check it out. I go over it in a lot of detail, so if you want to look at the vehicle in a lot of detail, you can check that video out, and it's basically the same thing. But this is the sedan version. You can see the profile there in the back is a little bit different, and the trunk. Here's the trunk here. It has a deck lid spoiler, and it has like a metal flake black paint on it, and then the regular is like a grayish color or metallic color. You open the trunk with there's a little button right here on the underside of the emblem in which you can push and releases it. There's also a button next to the left of the steering wheel as well that you can open the trunk. The trunk space is pretty good size. When you first look at the outside of the vehicle and the interior and everything, when you get in and out of it, you think it's kind of like a smaller vehicle, but once you open the trunk, you're like, wow, this is bigger than what I thought it was going to be. You can lower the seats. It's a 60-40 split here. But this actually, when I got this vehicle, this one's broken, so I can't lower this seat. So I can lower the right one, the left one, the cable's broken, so it doesn't work. So the space in here is nice. It's mostly carpeted. There is a spare tire underneath the floor. And here to the right is the jack for the spare tire. There is some exposed wires and metal and stuff under here, so it's not fully carpeted. There's speakers and wires and stuff under there. So the trunk space is nice. The visibility is a little bit different than the hatchback, of course. You can see this one has the dual exhaust looking nice. You probably saw that in the very beginning of the video. And this one has a really nice, like ivory or real light tan interior seats, in combination with the black. Looking really nice. That's very, very impressive. Now, getting in and out of the vehicle is a little bit difficult for me. I don't know what it is. The roof line here getting in the way of my head. The pillar, I have to navigate around the pillar and underneath the roof line. So, you know, you want to keep that in mind when you check out the vehicle. Get in and out 4 or 5 times when you first check it out to make sure that it's, you know, you're going to feel comfortable getting in and out, because it's a little bit of a pain. So I've gotten a little bit used to it, but I still have to duck my head and kind of contort myself a little bit getting in. But it is a really fun to drive vehicle. It is a exhilarating acceleration. The braking, the handling is all nice. It's just overall the experience as far as driving it is really good. The only thing is that for me personally, it's a little bit, you know, wrapped around and things are kind of coming towards me. So it's a tiny bit claustrophobic, especially at first. It was just a little bit, you know, for my tastes, a little bit too much kind of coming towards me type thing, and the pillar and all this stuff. But, you know, if you don't mind that like wrap around feel, like you're surrounded and you're in like a tight cockpit space, then it might not be an issue for you. But this interior, I really like the color of these seats in contrast with the black. As you can tell, it's pretty much the same vehicle. And I pointed out a few drawbacks that my personal preference could, you know, some of these things. In the previous video, I kind of went over those in detail. But, so I'm not going to go over all that stuff today. The heads-up display is probably the clearest out of all the heads-up displays I've seen. This one is very clear and easy to, focus on with my eyes. And some of them are a little bit fuzzy to where you're trying to focus on, and you're just like, is it my eyes that I can't see it clearly, or what's going on? But this one is sharp and crisp, so I'm not wondering whether I need to change my glasses. So I like the heads-up display. It's good on this particular one. Now you have to go into several sub-menus here on the screen in order to adjust it, so you know, that would be nice if it was easier to adjust. Another thing I love about this vehicle is the fact that it doesn't have that automatic stop-start feature. The engine does not turn off when I come to a complete stop. That is fantastic. That's a huge, just like right there, that's a selling point. All the drawbacks, I have a lot of things that I dislike, but now the acceleration is another thing. It's really fun to drive. Now, when you're driving it, it feels like, if you just like floor it like I just did, it doesn't feel as strong as if you're just kind of give it a little bit of, give it a little bit of gas and you kind of push it in that middle range RPMs. It feels like it has better acceleration and feels stronger. But when you just like really blast it out, then it just kind of feels like it's like a huge diminishing return there when you accelerate overly accelerate. But in that normal range in which you're driving, that's really where the strong point is, and that's, you know, for me the most important, because I'm not flooring it very often, and you don't have to with this vehicle. You can accelerate, you can merge, you just everything, just no problem. You're not wanting for power really, which is surprising, but considering the size of the engine and all that stuff. So right there, I didn't floor it. I just kind of pushed the accelerator a little bit, and it felt stronger to me. It was in that good range. And has a little bit of engine rumble, you know, sound in the vehicle, which is cool. The automatic high beams work great. The headlights are fantastic. As I made a full night video on the Mazda 3, and it's the same thing with this, as that it has the headlights that turn and all that stuff. I mean, it doesn't really have to turn, because I mean, the headlights are already fine without the turning. But so at nighttime it's pretty good. There's some interior problems. There's no light in the glove compartment. There's no light in the center console. There's no ambient light shining in the center. There's no floorboard illumination. There's a lot of drawbacks as far as the interior, but as far as the headlights, taillights, that kind of stuff is fine. It's good. Driving it during the day, there's a few things that I mentioned in the previous video, like not being able to see these buttons as well down here on the steering wheel, because they're kind of like angled toward the glare. You get the glare more than you do the actual symbol on them. Also, it has a really nice 360 camera system. I'll show you that when we get stopped up here. The only wish it was just the screen was like bigger or closer or something. It's just like, it's a little bit of a shame having it that far away, because this is a nice camera system. Now, as far as the cruise control, it keeps you at a pretty safe distance from between you and the vehicle in front of you, and of course you can adjust that distance as well. But the steering control, like the lane keep assist, when I turn it on, like I don't feel hardly anything on the steering wheel. I mean, there was a couple times I felt it, but it's weird that, you know, it doesn't really help much at all. But the adaptive cruise control works well. Also, the automatic high beams work really well as well. I mean, it doesn't flash people. Now, sometimes it'll dim when it's not supposed to, but most of the time, the main thing for me is that it's not flashing other cars. And also you have the ability to quickly turn the high beams back on if they dim when you don't want them to. So there was like a deer the other night, and it's just got a glimpse of it. As soon as I got a glimpse of it, then the headlights dimmed, and I was like, well, now where's the deer now? So I had to quickly turn the headlights, the high beams back on, so I can figure out where the heck that deer was, because I thought just as soon as I got a glimpse of it, it went to low beams. It like saw a reflector or something down the road, and there was no car coming. It's just, you know, it just does that because it mistakes other cars or reflectors or a bright sign or something like that as another car, and it dims and puts it to a low beam. Another thing is it's relatively quiet. I mean, it does have the acoustic glass here on the sides, and just overall the insulation, the solid build or something about it that makes this vehicle pretty quiet. The sound system is great. Sounds really good. You don't have to worry about exterior noises drowning out your music. The road noise is not bad, especially for a vehicle this low to the ground. Now this is fairly mild weather. Some of the Mazdas, as far as temperature goes right now, it's not really too hot or too cold. Some of the Mazdas I've had some issues with the air conditioner not working all that great, which it was probably, I mean, it's in the summertime, so it's hard to tell right now because it's not that hot. So you want to keep that in mind. I've made several different Mazda videos, and there seems to be a little quirks here and there that, you know, in my opinion, could be improved. Another thing is for me, the seats aren't that great. They're kind of like a hammock in a way, because it kind of bottoms, it like sinks down in the middle really far, and then you got a lot of the pressure on the side of your body. And it seems to be like all the Mazda seats are like that. Which the good thing is it doesn't take long to tell. You know, if you sit in it for like 5 minutes, you already realize it. So if you have that issue, you'll know it fairly fast. Now, when you turn on automatic on the climate control, it seems like the fan blows higher than really what it needs to be. So that seems like a little bit of a... Sometimes it kind of... the fan drowns out your music. It's so loud. Or you're trying to have a conversation or whatever, and it's like, you got to turn the fan down. So I'll turn it on now. So... it's pretty loud, and it goes pretty, I mean, it blows really good. I mean, there's lots of airflow, so that's good, but it's a little bit louder than what it really, you would think it would be. But that's just kind of a minor issue. Another thing is when you get in it, like if you don't put your seatbelt on right away and you just kind of like, you're just sitting there, it just constantly bugs you to put your seatbelt on. It's like you just want to sit there and maybe have a conversation in the car or something, or listen to the radio or something. You're not going anywhere. The vehicle's in park. I even engaged the parking brake, and it's just like whining and complaining and beeping and nonstop. And I was like, what's the deal with this? You know, most vehicles, if you're stopped, it doesn't tell you to put your seatbelt on or constantly beep at you to get your seatbelt on. I mean, it was like 5 minutes or something. It was ridiculous. But that's another thing that's, you know, one of those annoying things. But yeah, to sum up, if you like the looks of the car, and getting in and out is not an issue for you, and I mean, and the seat's fine for you, then, I mean, this is a, you know, pretty decent car. I mean, it's quiet, it accelerates fast, it's fun to drive, it has great cornering, handling, all that stuff. You feel level and planted on the road. It's not loud, it's not obnoxious with all the road noise and all that stuff. And the bumps are tolerable too. You don't really, there hasn't really been any kind of, some other Mazdas have had some issues with that, like you go over bumps and all of a sudden it makes all this noise and it's really annoying. But this one is like, I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good as far as all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you definitely, once the supply of vehicles gets stepped back up, you definitely want to, you know, take this one for a test drive if you like the way it looks, especially. And it looks good. I mean, I think it looks good. I can understand why people like it, like the way it looks, the way it drives and all that stuff. And when I point out some things, my preference, some of the things that I'm not excited about, it seems to provoke a lot of reactions, and it's just my personal opinion, because there's a lot of people that like this car, and I understand that, you know, but of course, you know, I'm just trying to evaluate it based on my preferences, and I think it's a good car overall. I mean, it could be improved, of course, like any other vehicle on the market can have some improvements to match my particular preferences. But, you know, if this vehicle matches your preferences, then that's great. I'm glad that you like it, and I'm glad, you know, that people enjoy their vehicle that they drive. That's the main thing, most important thing. And that it's reliable. And from what I understand, the Mazdas are very reliable, and that's a big plus. Anyways, I don't have the window sticker. For some reason, I don't have it. But if I do get it, then I'll put it at the end of this video, or I'll put a link in the description below. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.